I want to thank Sabine for coming back to your old classroom. Yeah, I'll turn things over to you. So nice warm welcome for Sabine Kahwaji.
So my name is Sabine. I am a filmmaker, so I direct, edit, and film quite a variety of content. But today I'll be talking to you guys specifically about filmmaking in the music industry because that's what I currently do. So to start off, I'll tell you guys a bit about myself. So I graduated here back in 2016, so about 4 years ago now. And I was pretty heavily involved in media arts, so I did a lot of the like Zoom Fest, Real Stars, and quite a bit of like promotions for Walkathon and just like the little videos for samples and stuff. So a year after high school, I decided I was gonna go full out and pursue film as a career. But I released this short film called 17. I did pretty long festivals. I was 18 at the time, so I had edited, produced, directed, and wrote the whole project. And at this point, going into this project, I basically knew what I had learned from this class, so like script writing, storyboarding, editing with Premiere Pro, which is what I currently do as well. And yeah, so when this whole thing kind of ended, I bought a camera, the one that's back there, and I started filming and kind of testing out what I like and what genres I want to cover, and I decided I'd be more towards the music side of things. And so I kind of just started working and got pretty involved into the music industry, and so that'll get us to our next slide. So that's a couple of artists I've worked with, and I'll get more into depth about how it kind of works. So basically, in this case, when you're filming, I'm like an in-city videographer, I would say. So when artists fly in, that's when I film and I'll create promotional content. So concert recaps, tour promos, just all kind of sorts of videos for them. I've worked with labels like Sony Music Canada, Interscope, 21 Entertainment. So it's a pretty cool job. To go more into depth about how it works though, you are pretty limited on time. Like it's usually concerts, I'm sure you guys have all been to one. The main artist is up for like an hour, so you kind of have to get as many footage as you can because I'm not on tour with an artist where I can redo a shot the next show. It's just a one and done deal. So it's about being very cautious with time and getting the footage, and a lot of quick turnarounds too is a big thing for them. And a huge part of really getting and landing all these gigs is networking. It's a huge aspect of it. So if you're more introverted like me, it's definitely about stepping out of your comfort zone and really putting yourself out there and like talking, being comfortable with the artist. If you're a fan of someone, you can't exactly fangirl and like be all like, for instance, Lil Skies, I'm a huge fan, but I have to be very professional and normal and like as if he didn't faze me. So yeah, when you develop like a good relationship with managers and they know that they can rely on you, when they go into town, they know that they have a reliable video editor, videographer. And so that's kind of where it ties in. So Tyler Shaw, I've been working with him for, I think it's gonna come close to a year now. And every time he's in town, I'll either cover like a merch video, a tour promo. His last fall of the tour in November I did. It was quite a variety of things, and that all comes from having building good relationships with artists and with their managers, because you can be great at what you do, which is, of course, you have to perfect your craft and know what you're doing, but it's how you present yourself and being professional and just walking in and not forgetting equipment or remembering, drop the mic at home or something like that. So just being pretty organized and
Sabine, do you know for this kind of filming, do you have your own equipment or do you rent, or how do you get the cameras and stuff?
So now I have my own equipment. When I started, I was renting lenses, so I had like the body of the camera. But yeah, for the most part, I come equipped because it's just easier for them, so they don't have to put funds into my equipment. So yeah, usually it's just, unless they want something special like extravagant, then I'll go rent out a vehicle or some sort of thing. But for the most part, it's just like my setup.
Yeah. And how did you end up in the music industry? Did you see opportunity there, or was it personal interest, or?
It started with personal interest. I wasn't sure if there was job opportunity there, if there was like that much potential, but I landed one gig and then one led to the other, and it kind of became a full-time thing. And You get a lot of credibility, like the bigger artists you work with too, with social media, which I'll talk about further in. So yeah, I started personal interest, then I realized there was potential, and then kind of kicked off. It's bigger than I expected. So. Yeah. So in terms of like the 1975, for them, I got scouted through a magazine. So there's kind of different things. You either work like one-on-one with the artist, you know them personally, either from the video, or yeah, it's just through like a magazine. I'm not a huge photography person, but when you get an opportunity like that, it's not worth putting down because you're not sure about your skills. It's just kind of going in and doing what you're doing in that moment. So aside from filming like personally for an artist, a big thing is festival coverage. So this is a recent festival I did right now, it was in November, and I went in to film for DJ Rose Gold, she's a DJ from Toronto. And through her, I got to get a full access pass, which in that case, it's a free-for-all. You can kind of go shoot whoever you want. But in those moments, you have to be aware of your environment. You can't go and shove a camera in an artist's face and just grab a picture of them. Like you can, but you're gonna get in trouble for it. So you have to be pretty careful, and in terms of knowing your awareness, you have to kind of see who's popping in and out. There's a lot of people that weren't artists that were there for some reason, so like, hey, I'm not sure why she was there, but she kind of just popped in, and so we got a picture of her, and that all kind of adds up to your portfolio too, which is a big thing, is having like a solid report that you can present to other managers. So yeah, this one was a pretty cool thing. You can see on the blog, but there was quite a variety of people, and this is also pretty time limited. It's not like I think each artist has at least a 15-minute set, so it's even shorter than a concert. So it's about being very efficient with time, and you'll deal with, I don't know if any of you guys have been to festivals like Faded or Breakout. If you haven't, the crowd is very bad. You have to really push through and like push the kids and try to get the shot. Like I don't want to be mean to them, but you do what you have to do to get the footage. So it was it was a lot, but we got some pretty good content at the time.
Are these your shots that are out there?
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
nice.
So I filmed everything, photographed it, see up there.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So this is a tour doc I did for Rylan James and Alessia Cara. At this point, the reason I'm putting this up here is because I want to kind of talk about time management with videos. I didn't realize making this that a lot of the skills I used towards this project was from ZoomFest, because ZoomFest is like, it's 48 hours, right? You have to do a whole big short film and you don't know what's being thrown at you. So in this case, I had to give 3 edits to the artist the day after. This was like over probably 6 to 7 hours of footage, and then the next day I had an edit for Alessia, Ryland, and then an overall tour doc. So I started like thinking back, and I was like, that definitely comes from the time management skills with ZoomFest that I did for 3 years. And regardless if you do film or you go a different route, a lot of the skills you learn here you can apply to different jobs that you do. So just being organized and efficient with your time. And with this stuff, it wasn't just like basic putting together a story. There's a lot of like color grading is a huge thing, which you'll see in the next slide. Audio mixing, and of course being able to tell a story, but understanding like your target audience, who's the fan base, what are they looking for from the artist. So this was probably one of my favorite projects because it was the first like big tour doc I've done. But yeah, we kind of gave the illusion that it was a whole tour, but it was just like one concert show. It was their final stop, but that's kind of how the industry works. And with film, you can dictate your work to give a different story than what you initially planned.
So what was the length of the tour doc?
It was like 3 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not like long, but we gave the illusion that it had been a good while that he went on tour, which he had been for a couple months. I wasn't there for that while, so when they came in for their last stop, I got a call and went in. And for Alessia, hers wasn't a tour doc, it was just like an overall end of tour recap, so that was like 30 seconds. Another thing too, most of these edits are no longer than 40 seconds, 45 seconds, so you're working with like 5 hours of footage and cutting it down in one night so it's definitely get back at midnight, stay up till 4, finish the edit, send it to the manager, see, and then see how it turns out on social media. So yeah, look this up in terms of time management. So that's more into depth about color grading, which I do a lot with my videos, like music videos, concerts, really anything. The top layer that you see, it's like a flat profile called S-Log2, which I shoot with on that camera as well. And the reason I do this is because it gives more of a realistic look and it kind of ups the quality too, and you're able to play around. And this is all done in Premiere Pro. Like I don't use a special fancy program. It's just all like volumetry. Yeah, so I actually didn't know about that this was even a thing until I did 17, because the videographer. So 17 I didn't film. I had a guy that filmed for me, but I gave him a shot list and stuff. He shot everything very, very flat, and I looked at it and I thought that he messed up color footage, and that was after 10 hours. And he's like, no, you have to color it. And then I got into that. And it's really fun, and you can kind of alter the theme. So like that fire shot, that was shot during the day, but we made it look like it was a very night, like dark kind of theme. So yeah.
It seems to me counterintuitive that you shoot flat kind of colors like that, and yet that's the optimal way to shoot for color grading potential, right? It's
yeah.
I don't understand the science behind it. Do you know how that works? Or
Honestly, like I think because when you don't shoot flat, you still get that. I mean, you just don't get the same result. Like with Canons and stuff too, they're pretty saturated just as is. I just like going this route because I realized that my style is more towards cinematic, and a lot of people don't like flat profile. They think it's like there's not much to it, but I've stuck to that.
I don't even like Blackmagic. The only time I've ever used a Blackmagic camera, it was very, very flat colors like that, and someone told me, because I didn't know that either. They said, oh yeah, this is how you want to shoot for color grading purposes. So, but that's how you shoot everything like that.
Yeah, which adds more time in post production, but what you end up doing is making presets, so you just drag and drop. So it's not always like spend an hour trying to figure out. Yeah, it just depends on your style. Like you'll kind of develop your own thing. When I was like in Carney, I was just focusing, I think, more on like storytelling, which is very important. I was just trying to get the audience engaged. And then when I graduated and I started getting more into this stuff, I started to be more technical with the editing. Because like as much as I love directing, you have to work your way up. So whether you start as like doing light on set or something, you just gotta keep building to get more drops and bigger. So the reason I put this up, that's been Petra's, and that's Savannah Ray and Jesse Reyes. So the reason I put this is a big thing has to do with knowing your target audience. So when you go into filming, like of course you want to know what edits that you're going in, like what angles, but a lot of the time you can't really control how the angles are going to look in concert situations because each venue is different. But it's the terms of knowing like your target audience is so that you can keep everyone engaged for however long the video is. So it's cool when you follow an artist and they post a recap of the Vancouver show. But sometimes you want to add more depth to it and you kind of want to see a different side to the artist than just looking on stage, like seeing them during rehearsal or seeing the opener interact with the main act. And kind of like those funny, candid, behind the scene moments. And a lot of them are really open to having the camera around. They kind of just, you're like invisible to them and then you just film and do your thing. Some other ones like Roddy Rich was not a fan of the camera, so we got like freaked out for that one. But we ended up filming his like set, but personally we didn't want it behind the scenes. So it just depends on the artist and who they are. But yeah, target audience is huge. Even with festivals like Zoom Fest and Real Stars, when you're going into making a project, it's knowing like who am I trying to target here? Like who's gonna enjoy this film and think outside of yourself.
So when you're there, are you pretty much shooting continuously whatever you're seeing?
Yeah. That's why I have a huge part that I just switch up, and you have to pack pretty light. You can't have like a big bag on you, so I usually have like a fanny pack and I like stuff everything in there. But yeah, it's kind of shooting, but also being respectful and professional. Like there are people that don't care and they'll just like do whatever they want. I'm a bit more cautious. I'm also a bit more scared to get in their face. Like I just don't want to bother them. So I kind of get around and try to capture. Sometimes they won't even know I'm getting certain things on camera. Like when Tyler shot for Me Day, when I sent them the video, they're like, you're sneaky, like we didn't even know this. And it was one of their favorite like clips because they were all just joking around and like making fun of each other. So it's definitely about being like low-key about what you're doing and not like my setup is very small for concerts too. I don't bring a massive thing because it's just getting the shot in your account.
And I noticed some slow motion shots. What frame rate do you shoot at?
120, and then I switch. So like all the footage is in 4K, but for slow motion, I go to 1080p.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in post, because like 4K in slow motion is like it cuts. It's not pretty. So I go 1080p. I switch. I have like automatic settings, so I don't have to fix the whole thing. It's just like a flick and then I'm in 1080p. But for low light, that's a big thing too. You're filming in very low light, so you have to have a good low light camera. And slow motion in low light is very noisy.
Okay.
So I have to put more, like when I film slow motion, I know that I have to put a bit more time in post to like crush the black and make it a bit more sharper. Because
You gotta know your camera, right? Because I'm assuming everything is manual for your settings, is it? Or
it's pretty custom actually. It took me a while though to find the settings that I liked. Because I just started, I think I bought that camera on my first gig. I just thought that I would film and it would turn out nice and I had the worst settings ever. So afterwards I started like watching kind of YouTube videos or seeing artists that had the same camera as me and seeing what they do until I developed my own setting, which is very flat profile. And kind of just like went from there. But it took a while. Like this didn't all happen at once. I spent like a year building my portfolio, traveling, filming, and then this all kicked in a year. It's like more than I expected, but really takes time to build up and have a good portfolio. Is a huge thing. Social media is huge. I think bigger than it was 4 years ago in terms of getting your name out there for film. Like my portfolio was initially video and sometimes YouTube, but I didn't realize how effective Instagram was, and that's how I got scouted for like maybe 70% of the gigs I've done, because they see you on Instagram, or they see like an artist that's posted something you've done, or like some music or something, and then they see who the videographer is and they'll reach out. And it's all about knowing someone who knows someone who knows someone that they get you. It's a big thing. It also builds more credibility for you too. It's really cool to see your work being posted and seeing positive feedback. It's rare that you'll see negative comments about like a concert video. And when fans find themselves in the video, which you get like tags and posts, so that's always like a fun part of it. But it's all just about getting your name out there. So that's why I would care about being tagged. It's just so people know who's behind the work that's being posted.
oh, it's only fair.
Yeah.
You put that time in. You should at least get credit for it.
Yeah. And a couple of the artists, I was their first like concert video. She was so Rylan, Savannah, not Tyler, but a lot of them I've done like I was their first main concert video, which is always cool to know too. A video that plays, and it's just a reel of like all the concert stuff I've done last year or in 2019. So I'll show you guys that. It's about 30 seconds.
Music is what holds the world together. This world, the next world, and the previous world. And we have all of that running in our pulse, running in our blood. That's what music wakens, quickens, brings back to life, brings all of us to life. Music is not just about music, but what's so powerful about music is it's about everything else in the world. Music is not about itself. It's about everything else we care about, think about, and feel. To describe people's lives, to describe people's hope. Music is about everything we're hoping for and that's not here yet. And music is here ahead of time to tell us it's coming.
So reels are pretty important to have when you're reaching out to film something. You can put a bunch of links in your website, but not a lot of people have the time to look through each video. So if they have a 30-second clip like that they can look through and kind of see the highlights, it's just so much easier and you're most likely to get a reply, as opposed to sending them 5 links and you have to click through each one and watch. So finally, To conclude, I currently focus more on music videos. That's something that I lean towards and the reason I got into film. So concerts are really fun and it's always a good time, but the goal is to kind of continue with video shoots. So this is the most recent one I did for an artist named Sabine, and it got quite a bit of publications too, which was really cool. In terms, like, to get more into some details about this, we didn't have a massive setup or like a crew or anything. It was like 4 people. We had a very small camera setup, and a lot of it had to do with working with what was around us. So if we saw an arcade machine and the light was a bit brighter, it was like, how am I going to adjust the artist to face it so that the footage is more crisp if there's better lighting around her. Yeah, so just a huge part working with what's around you. Lighting is a big thing. I overlooked lighting when I was here because I didn't like it. So I always was like, oh, get someone else to do the lighting. Super important. It's more important than you think. A big impact on how your footage is going to turn out. Yes.
Did you carry a light with you at all? Or?
I have like a small one for concerts if it's really bad, like backstage. But usually no. Like if the shoot's outdoor, kind of just natural lighting, I like that better. But for in studio stuff, I try to get someone to do the light, but depending on the budget. But huge difference. It makes like a big difference in quality.
This looks amazing, and this was all done with just the ambient light that you had.
Yeah,
wow.
Just like what was around us. We shot very flat, so that's why I was able to get the illusion of like a higher quality camera. That one was fun. We froze because it was in October and it was during Fright Night too. So this is nice. We had like the smoke coming around, so that kind of gave it helped almost. Like someone thought we had a smoke machine. I was like, no, it's just because there's haunted houses and all that stuff from it. So I have the video dropping at the end of the month, so it varies every time. Or not. It's very up and down. January is usually slow and then it just picks up again. So yeah. And that's it.
Wow.
You guys have any questions?
How busy do you stay working on this? Is it more than what you'd like, or?
Honestly, it depends on the month. So I would say when March hits, that's when it gets packed. If I don't have school, like if I'm not studying, I don't mind. Like it can be pretty full time. But when I have an exam, like with Kim Petras, I had an 8 a.m. exam the next day, and I was home with her till midnight. So that was a bit of a mess. But I love doing that more. So I take into account. I just think like everything's gonna lead to another. So it's worth putting 100% in. Yeah, it can be time consuming, but it's when you like it, it doesn't feel that time consuming.
It's not like work.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself going full time into this? Is that the plan, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess last year it was pretty much full time.
Okay.
Yeah. This year I'm putting more focus into music videos, so I'm hoping that'll be the full time thing. And then sometimes you'll get like random opportunities. So in the summer I might be going on tour with an artist for 2 months. So
Wow.
that's going to be like a lot of videos. So in a sense, like 2 months of videos would make up for a whole year, or like 3 months of not doing anything.
So you might be traveling with the artist.
Yeah. It's like a festival tour and stuff, but you know you're doing like good and building good relationships when you get asked to do one.
Yeah.
It's, I think it's in Toronto or something too. Yeah. So that should be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you guys to do this, by the way.
Every time you ask a good question, you get a tidbit. How's that sound?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, if you want to color grade your footage,
Yeah.
you have like a better quality if you use settings.
Yeah, I see that more. I think it ups the quality and it gives more of a realistic look in a way. The thing is though, with like the cameras you're shooting with, if you look into Premiere Pro, you'll see there is a lumetri panel. I think it comes with it.
I think so. Yeah, because you guys were color graded, weren't you already? Yeah. Is it lumetri? Is that what you were using, or do you remember?
I don't know what it is, but I was usually
A little color panel.
yeah, so the
Yeah.
version is like already like colorful because the Canon that we said.
Yeah.
So when you